Hi, Mark here, and I trust you're well. Welcome to this legacy recording of a Lightroom skills and support session that I hosted back in March 2022. The narrative that we discussed was the actions of keywording. And basically, keywording hasn't changed over the years that Lightroom has used keywording functionality. Now, we looked at a lot of things about workflow, which is relevant for today. Now, please bear in mind, software does get updated and thinking changes. But you may find some of the workflow and tools and information in this legacy recording of help to you in your workflow with Lightroom Classic. Now, if you'd like to come and join us, just visit lightroommark.com, and below the introduction video you'll see a lot of upcoming events. They're skills and support based. You can ask your questions about your workflow today that you need help with. So without any further ado, let's jump across the recording, and I hope it's of benefit to you. Bye for now.
Right, so tonight we're looking at keywording, and we're just looking at the actions of keywording, what keywording is, and all the different types of keywording. And if we've got time, we'll look at a couple other bits and pieces. So we're in Classic. You can keyword in Lightroom if you wish, but it's slightly different. But keywording in Classic is a legacy workflow. So there's lots of things that we can do in there. So who knows what keywording is? What's it for? Oh, come on. What's it for?
Well, easy way of finding certain images.
Yeah, they're tags. That's what they are, basically. Yeah. They're a descriptive word about the image that you can then go and find it later or have an automated workflow. So, for example, you could tag images with the word Paris, and you could have a smart collection that when you imported images and you used a preset with the keyword of Paris on the preset, you would automatically put it into that smart collection, therefore grouping all your Paris images together. But you could create other smart collections. So we'll take Paris, because we're looking at Paris tonight, because I'm going shortly with a young lady to Paris. We are importing them, have keywords on them, but then we're picking them and perhaps using stars or color labels to put them in that smart collection. So, for example, show me all my picked images that have a keyword of Paris. Yeah, you don't want to go hunting for them. You don't want to start using the filters and finding them. You can create a smart collection that looks at your catalog and shows you all those images. Okay? Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
It could be a dog, it could be a type of image or whatever, a place, a person, because Face ID is keywording. Okay? It's keywording for people. All right, so you can show me all the pictures of me. And as long as they're keyworded, Face ID'd with me, I could go one click and it will show me all the pictures that I'm in. Just like that. Okay, or you could use a smart collection to show me all the pictures this year or this month that have got me in it. And this is where keywording comes in. Okay. But it's looking over all your images or within images in locations, geographic locations, also folder locations on your computer. You can say, just look in this folder. Or you can say, look in this, using the map module, look in this geographical location. So within 10 miles of Minehead, show me all the photographs of me. So that's what keywording is all about. Okay, so we're going to start from scratch. I have deleted all the keywords in my catalogue. And we can go here. Okay, so for tonight, I have just created. Oh, what happened there? There we go. I've just created a collection, just a standard collection with today's days. You can see down the bottom left-hand corner, Lightroom Monday, 21st of March, which should be today. And I've just dropped some images of Paris in them. And if I come over to the right-hand top corner to the keywording, click on an image, there's no keywords in there at all, nothing at all. Okay, I'm just clicking on each image, nothing at all. Okay, so they're totally blank. So what we can do is just type in this here, Paris. Literally just type. And I've now just keyworded that image called Paris. Okay. Now, if I wanted to very, very quickly to find that image, I've got 208 images in this catalog. I go to the grid view. I click on the filters at the top, click text. I can search any field, but we can type keywords, contain or contain all, or do not contain, but we want contain. And I type the word Paris. And there comes the image. Okay? Straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So now we're going to work a bit smarter. I'm going to create a smart collection. So I've come down to my collections. I'm clicking on the plus here in the left-hand corner. And I'm going to go create smart collection. And I'm just going to call it Paris. Okay, so that's the name of the smart collection. And the drop down, I'm going to go to, should be metadata, keywords, contains. You can have contains all, so you could have multiple words. So it could be Disneyland Paris. It's got to contain Disneyland Paris. But if it's got contains, we type Paris, press enter. It automatically creates this smart collection with a little cog on it. And there's the image of Paris. Okay. Now, if I go back to another image, let's say I click on this one, and I just type in the word Paris. Okay, this image and this image have both got the keywords Paris. But if you now go back to the smart collection, it's put that image in there. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so let's take the workflow a little bit further. I'm going to, one of these images, I'm going to say I like it. I'm going to say this one here. I've pressed P on the keyboard and it puts the white flag, which is the pit flag. So now I'm going to create, to duplicate the smart filter, the smart collection, just for ease of use. I want to go my fave Paris images. Okay. The keyword contains Paris plus is the flag is picked or flagged. It's a picked flagged. Okay. So now I've got a collection that is picked with one image in it. It's a Paris image and it's picked. Okay. It's done this automatically for me. Smart collections. Okay. So I now need to keyword my images. Now we could do this several ways like we looked at last week. Okay, so we can go to our presets, metadata presets, and we could have a collection called Paris, okay, which I haven't got yet. All right, so I could just say, right, okay, let's just take this one here and add the keyword Paris. Okay. And I'm just going to save this new preset and I'm just going to call it Paris. Okay. So I've created a preset called Paris. Now, if I go to this image here, which is Paris again, and I go to my metadata, preset, add Paris, it's now added the keyword of Paris to that image. And I'll show you that. Keywords, add it to the Paris. Because I put in the preset, the metadata preset, I put the keyword Paris in there. I go to the Smart Collection, there it is. It's got in there as Paris. But because I haven't picked it yet, it's not my favorite image. It's not in my picked images, it's not in my favorite images of Paris. Okay? So this is what Keyword's doing, and I'm using it in conjunction with Smart Collections. Okay? Now you imagine, like in my work catalogue, I've got over 700,000 images in there. Okay, I love Exmoor Highland cattle. I think they are beautiful animals. I've got presets of Exmoor Highland cattle, all with all the keywords that I've spent years of collecting keywords, and I paste them in there, and I pick my favourites. Now, I've got a whole long list of folders with all them in the dates when they were taken. It would take me ages to go through them and find the one that I'm looking for or whatever. So I have a Smart Collection. I'm going to make it up, 1,500 images of Highland cattle. There might be 60 that I really like. And then when I find a new one, I pick it, Exmoor Highland cattle. It's already on preset. The Exmoor Highland cattle keyword's already there. I pick it, it adds it automatically to that Smart Collection. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's grouping. It doesn't matter where they are. That's irrelevant where they are on my computer. It brings them together and puts them in that place. So I use in my workflow, I use color labels for, bear in mind my end goal is to make money from images. So I use a traffic light system for the color labels. Ready, stop. I'm working towards it's on sale. Ready, stop means I like it, but I've done nothing to it. Yellow, amber, means I've done something to it, but it's not quite ready yet to go on sale. And green, for go, means it's ready to go on sale. It's on sale. Well, just like I've just done with that Smart Collection, I've added a color label system to it. So it's picked, color label is green. Show me all my green images, green labeled images that are picked that have Exmoor Highland cattle. So there may be out my, let's say 1,500, there may be 30 favourites, but there may only be 12 of them on sale. But I want to, customer phones me up or an agency or whoever, or I want to put them on Adobe Stock or Alamy or anything. I want to go one click, show me all the images. Show me all my Exmoor images, Exmoor Highland cattle images that are on sale. I have a Smart Collection and just go click, there it is. So this is why we use different flags, star rating, color labels. It's a part of our workflow to automate these boring jobs. Okay. In my work catalog, somebody can say to me, Mark, show me all your Exmoor pony images that are on sale. Or what I get asked a lot of time is, I want a new image of an Exmoor pony. So what do you think I would do in clicking on a Smart Collection? What Smart Collection do you think I'd click on? Any ideas?
Pending?
Yeah, exactly right. I would click on the red color label, which means it's not, I haven't done anything with it yet, or the yellow color label, which is amber for me, I call it amber, which means I've done something to it, but it's not on sale. So that means it's a new image. So I would go and choose one of those images, I'd edit it and I'd send it to the client, say, look, this is an unpublished image. You'd be the first person to use it. I want more money for it. It hasn't gone to a stock site, hasn't been sold by somebody else. I want £275 for it, not 99 quid. So I'm using the Smart Collections to filter out where I'm going with keywords. And the keywords is the content or the narrative. And it's how we find these and apply them, okay?
Yeah.
Does that all make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I've just shown you is just literally applying one keyword to one image. Really boring, that is. let's look at the different ways that you can keyword. Okay, so we have a list, which is a long list. That's it, keyword list. Quite straightforward, and I'll show you that. Share screen. Okay, so we're in the grid view. And if we look, we have on a panel on the left-hand side called keyword list. And in here, you will have, as some of you will already know, a big long list of keywords. Literally, it says Paris here, but you will scroll down the page, keep on going down the page, down the page, down the page, down the page, and you'll have a whole long, big list of keywords. Okay? Real pain in the backside. And that's how I used to keyword. Okay? And you can search, use a little search bar, which I'll show you again in a second, so you can look for keywords and so on. All right? But if in my case, I had something like 30,000 keywords, it takes a while to scroll through them all. So you can either search, and I'll show you in a second, or you'd scroll through them. However, something that I have recently changed in the last 18 months or so is hierarchical. And that's very much like my folder structure. I create categories. So I've got one called travel, Somerset, travel, England, Somerset, and it steps down. And then I put all the keywords in like a little folder. Okay, so I group them together. And that's called hierarchical. And I'll show you that now. And what you're doing is you are grouping your keywords together so they look a little bit tidier. So if we just go off topic slightly, you can see in my folder structure on the left-hand side, I've got a folder, and then I've got a subfolder, then I've got another folder. This is hierarchical. This is how it looks. Okay, so I'm drilling down through the folder. I'm stepping down. Okay, and that's what keywording is. Okay, in hierarchical. So I could create one called, and how I do it is I create a capital letter. So the folder is capitalized to start with. So it will be travel. Okay. And then I click on the word travel and I'll put Europe. Okay. I expand the list. And now I drop one in there called Paris, or called France. Okay. It's France. And then I could create one called Paris. Again, they're all capitalized. These are the folders. And now I would put my Paris in there. So my keyword is actually in this folder structure. And this is hierarchical. And this is really good if you've got subcategories of stuff that, or narratives that are within the topic of Paris. So you could have here people. Okay. You could have in there, let's go for another one, landmarks. Okay. And then the keyword that's in lowercase, that's actually the keyword. So now I would group these together. So in here, I'd create another keyword. So landmarks, so tower, building, cafe. Okay. And just for ease of use, I'm going to go back to my collection. There's my collection. These are my keywords. I'm going to select them and I can drag them and drop them on an image. Okay. All right. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can now see, look, it's got 1, 1, 4, 1. And as I move, can you see the white boxes around the images?
Yeah.
Yeah. The white boxes, they appear. or I can press the little arrow. It shows me the 4 images. If I go up to the one above, which says cafe, there's the 1 image. Okay. If I go to the one that says buildings, little arrow, you can see the little arrow by the number 1 building comes across the right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Changes the image. I'm going to the keyword image. And that is exactly the same as going to text, searching for calf. But it'll bring all the images. If I do it that way, it'll bring all the images that I've got cafe in across the whole of my catalogue. Okay, so if I have another image, let's say it was in Belgium and it had a cafe on it, it would bring that image up as well. Where this way, I can drill down, and here's the search bar. If I type the word calf, it would come up on this side here on the right. It would come up with all. So if let's just show you. So if I just type Europe, Spain. Okay, so that's that. Oh, I had all this open. That's why. Okay, like that. Keyword Spain. So apply it. Oh, it's already there. Because I need to do that. There we go. Spain's there. And then I'm going to go in there. I had a filter on, that's why it wasn't showing it. Landmarks. Okay, so that's, I'm going to expand that, landmarks. And then in there, I'm just for argument's sake, I'm going to type the word calf, lowercase, because that's my keyword. And now if I applied it to that image, okay, and now if I go back to here, it should, there's both images, the word calf in, okay? They were in different places, okay? But it found both images because I just looked for the word calf. But if I wanted to look for a French cafe, I'd go here because it's under France. All right? Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is hierarchical, okay? It's a little bit more complicated, but you get a lot more fine detail, okay, with it. All right? And now I've moved to it, I love it. Absolutely love it. And I started from scratch. Bit of a nightmare, but I started from scratch, and I'm now probably quarter of the way through my images where I was before when I deleted them all. So, and I spend an hour a day. So, but I use the presets and I apply them to a preset. So this is hierarchical keywords and keyword lists. Okay. Any questions about that?
No, that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. It's a little bit more complicated, but you get a lot more information and a lot more detail, and you can be a lot more precise, especially using it with smart collections. You can say, show me all my Paris calves as a smart collection. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Therefore, you're not searching. It's one click. Now, last week we talked about generic presets. Okay. For your metadata. Yeah. We created a preset with your contact details, and then we created one with a description, a title, a caption, and some keywords. Yeah. So when I go off and I photograph my Exmoor Highland cattle, I use a preset to import those images, that narrative, I import them from my camera, okay? But they are generic metadata, generic keywords, generic description, generic caption and title, yeah, and headline, yeah? So I'm applying that generic narrative to all the images. I'm speeding up the workflow. But now I've got similar images with similar keywords, and I want to apply those keywords to multiple images. And so let's say Highland cattle grazing grass. Okay, so I've got Highland cattle, Exmoor Highland cattle as generic keywords, but grazing, eating, feeding, grass are specific to those images. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're not specific to pictures of Exmoor Highland cattle that are looking at me that aren't eating. So they're not generic, they're specific. Yeah? Okay. So that narrative, that's a lot of typing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, grazing, feed, grass, chewing, cud, all that stuff. They're all, and it's a lot of keywords that you've got to type, mistype. Yeah, my spelling isn't brilliant. My typing's even worse. Yeah, but I'm repetitively applying the same type of keywords. So this is where keyword sets come involved. Okay, so it's a different type of keywording, keyword sets. So I'm going to show you keyword sets. And we're going to look at Paris. Okay, so we have got, let's have a look, let's get rid of things, none. Let's go to my collection. I'm going to clear out the rubbish. So cafe to the, so, boom, 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 boom. There should be no keywords. Okay. So we've got Eiffel Tower, Eiffel Tower, Eiffel Tower, right? Eiffel Tower. But this Eiffel Tower picture is at night. This Eiffel Tower picture is at day. This Eiffel Tower is with the Seine in it. This Eiffel Tower is a night or a nightish image. Yeah. So we've got a generic narrative of Eiffel Tower, but there's individual narratives. But those individual narratives would reoccur, and I don't want to keep typing those keywords in and missing keywords. Okay. So the generic is tower and Paris. So I've highlighted 4 images, and I'm just going to drag the word tower, and I'm going to drag the word Paris. So they've now all been keyworded tower and Paris. Okay. Now I could have done that with a preset on import. I could have just gone to my metadata and selected from a drop down and applied it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone with that? Okay. So now we're going to look at keyword sets. And here we go, keyword sets. And what a keyword set is basically, I'm going to come up to the main menu, keyword sets, and we're just going to select one. Oops. Edit. Okay. We can have a preset. It's a preset, but it's a smaller group of presets. Okay. And you've got your generic narrative, but now we're going to create a smaller narrative. So it'd be night, lights, what else we could say? Moon, dark sky, colourful. What else could we say for night? Nightlife of Paris. So yes, we could say that, couldn't we? Paris nightlife. Yeah.
Illuminated.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. How can I? Yeah.
Twilight.
Illuminated. Look at that. Working smarter, not harder. Twilight. Twilight. Okay. So now we've just created this keyword set. These are repetitive keywords that we're going to use for a multitude of images that we're going to apply. So we're drilling down, we're reducing our keywords. So now we go save as a new preset. So it's Paris night. Right. So I've just created this keyword set of it's 8 at the moment, but it could be 9. And you could have a second set. So you would perhaps call it Paris night 1, Paris night 2. Okay. And now what you would do is your keyword set, you drop here and you click Paris night, and you could then apply them to images. So I'm going to select some images. There's my images. Oops. So I'm going to select that image and select that image. And it's night, it's got lights, it's colourful, illuminated, Paris nightlife. And I've now added those keywords to those images. I've just clicked on them. So if I go to my keyword list, here we go, they're up here. Okay. All right. But clever thing is, with smart collections, I could put these in smart collections. Now, if you look, they're outside the hierarchical keyword structure. Okay. They're in the top level. You see the top level of travel, and they're all lowercase, so they're keywords. So I would now start tidying that up. So I've got Paris, I'm going to create a title, Paris nightlife. Okay. And now I'm going to drag those keywords into Paris nightlife. So it's now in the hierarchical keyword. Hasn't changed the images, right? But it's now in the hierarchical structure. So I'm being a bit methodical, and it's all nice, neat and tidy. If I want to go and find an image that's got colourful keyword, there we go. There it is. If I wanted to go and find one that's got Paris colourful keyword, I can go and find that. And I can have a smart collection to find that. Right? So it's one click, there they all are. One click for picked, in my case, green label, because it's now on sale, Paris nightlife, all those images come up. But I haven't typed anything. Okay, what I've just shown you with that pre-word set, you can click on several images and just apply the keywords, click, 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 click to those images, or drag them and drop them on. Something that I've been using recently is, and it was something David said a few months ago, and I've been using them, is the paint tool, the paint spray can tool down here. You can go, let's have a look. Where is it? Remind me, Mark. Extension file type. No, click on, there we go, right. So now I can go keywords and I can spray on keywords. So let's just say calf. Okay, there it's coming up. Can you see at the bottom here? This is the path for my keyword. So calf, landmarks, and I'm looking at the right hand side up here. Okay, so it's calves, landmarks, and Paris. There we go. And now I can spray on that keyword to that image and to that image. Okay, so if I had loads and loads of images, okay, so turn this bit off the filter at the top. There we go. I can see that. And I'm now spraying on keywords. Simple as that. And that's something that I've been using the paint tool for other things, like if I click on the paint tool, change it from keywords to flags and reject. I've now rejected that image. I've rejected that image. I've rejected that image. It's a different workflow. And then you have to dock the paint can again. Okay. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did I explain it? Do you understand that? Keywords are putting tags on your images that you can find them quicker. Okay. You can have smart presets. There's hierarchical, There's keyword sets, which are a smaller group of keywords. You can have long, big sets, and you got your presets. Okay, so in your IPTC data, you can have presets. It's about speeding up your workflow. Okay. Now, this is the $1 million question. Okay. We have keywords here that we can find them in Lightroom. But if we sell our images, that's how the search engine picks them up. Okay. So let's open a browser. And google.com. Okay, so if I'm now in Google Images and type in Paris Cafe, okay, we get images. Click on the icon here, and all these images here are picked up by the keywords that apply to them. And if you look, this one here, can you see the word woman? It says licensable. Google is now picking that up from iStock to sell it. Okay, and there I've clicked on it, and now I'm set, you know, my images are becoming available for people to use them. Okay, some of them, if you look, they haven't got that information on there because Google hasn't picked up, and it's all in Lightroom. This is, it does the licensing bit, this bit here that says licensable. It's in the under the presets. There's a part where you put in this information with the URL, and it comes up licensable. Okay, this one here, licensable. Okay, so iStock. So they're all picking these up in Google search, and the chances of buying that image. There it is. Okay, £7. Okay, to buy that image, and they're bought from the search is bought from the keywords and the description and the metadata. So if you're going to put your images online, you need to add keywords. If you want to get a little bit of an income to pay for your Adobe subscription and so on, use Adobe stock, use Alamy, use Getty, use what else can I think of? Top of my head, generic ones, AP, generic, depending on the type of images, and you get specialized picture agencies that particular narratives. So there are ones for dogs, for example, there are ones for sports, there's ones for news, and depending on the uniqueness of the image and so on, etc., you earn quite a bit of money from it. So but if you just want to, I'm not worried about it, just stick it up with Adobe stock. And the reason why is your image will appear in Photoshop, so somebody can search, just like rather than going off to Google, they search in Photoshop, and up comes your images there. Okay, so that's why we keyword. It's for us here to find them, okay, using smart collections or typing them in and so on. But if we put them with agencies, that's how people find them. Okay, so that's why we keyword. All right.
Yeah.
Did that make sense?
Oh, yes.
I know it was quick. I do a 4-hour workshop. It costs you 50 quid, but we go through the whole workflow and how to get keywords. All right, and you also get a plugin as well. I buy a plugin that's licensed to you for you that speeds up that workflow. Okay, so you can gather them, put them in the order, do bits and pieces and so on, and then you learn how to operate that, and it speeds up the workflow even more. So it's a 4-hour workshop of actually going through the whole thing. But what I've just shown you is the ways of keywording. Not why, not I've shown you how, but when and so on. We go through the whole workflow. But anyway, right, okay, so questions about that, anything? Come on, someone must have a question.
No.
Okay, I can't be that good.
I've used the spray can quite a bit. What I've been doing is I've been selecting the images, a series of images,
Yep.
Then put in what the keywords are going to be.
Yep.
Click on one, and it does the lot.
Yeah.
Very similar to what you did. Yeah.
There is not one way of doing things. We all think slightly differently. There's not one way. There is a multitude of ways. You can sync keywords down the bottom right-hand corner. I'll show you. You can do it to one image, and down here, sync metadata. You can sync all your keywords. Okay, so you hit this, and it syncs them all. So you can select 10 or 15 images, press that, and it'll sync them all, everything. Okay, so you could sit there and type them into one, and then sync them all. Okay. But if you've typed the information in wrong, you've now synced it to all of them wrong, which is why I spend the little bit of time thinking about my keywords, thinking about the titles, setting up a preset. Okay. Now, if I get that preset wrong or I add an additional word to it, I can just sync the lot and it will apply the changes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've learned from my mistakes in doing things, and as Lightroom progresses on with all the things that it does, that's the way that I've worked it out. So, any questions?
Not at the moment for me.
Okay. No. Okay. Right. So we're going to look at the Puppet Warp tool. So here's an image. I've chosen a basic image from Adobe stock. Nothing, I'm just going to show you the tool. There are additional steps that we could look at without changing your background and things like that. So I'm just going to look at the tool. So Command E, I'm going to edit a copy from Lightroom to Photoshop. It's going to open it up. Okay. So I need to turn the background off. So I click on the padlock, bottom right-hand corner. It's now standard layer. I need to change my layer. I'm doing this from memory to a smart object. So we go to layer, smart object, convert to smart object. Okay. Smart objects allow us to do intelligent things to our image. Or it could be a vector, or whatever. Okay, so we've just, and you see the layer icon has slightly changed. Okay, now what we're now going to do is edit Puppet Warp. Here, can you see that? And it will create a map over the image. And we're now going to drop, I'm just using my cursor, some pins on the subject, and the pins are like the joints that we're going to move. And if it's a person, I'll put them on the joints. So I'll put one on the wrist, one on the elbow, one on the shoulder, one on his spine, on top of his neck, hips either side, knees, ankles. Okay. And then all I have to now do is put the mouse over the pin and I can drag the hand. Move it. Okay. I can move his neck. Okay. I can move his ankle. I can move his knee. Move the next knee. Move the ankle. Okay. Move the elbow down. Okay, I could put a pin in here and I could take his chest in. So if you want to instantly lose some weight, okay. All right. I've got probably too many pins. Okay, so you can do all this and change the way thing, and it stretches. This map that it applies, it stretches. Okay, so let's make them a bit taller. Make the arm come out a bit more. I'm doing it just for effect to show you. Then you press OK or the tick. It'll calculate all that, and there we go. Okay, made him shorter and so on. Yeah. Yeah. So I've done this very crudely. Okay, so we take it back to that's where he was. So it's still a smart collection. Going to edit, Puppet Warp again. It's not something I use a lot, Okay, so now I want to move this leg. Oops, I put enough of them in there. I haven't put enough of them in there. Got to put a few more in, so it's got something to move on. All right. Okay. So I'm just moving his leg. Okay.
If that had a background,
a
natural background, does that move that as well?
Okay, so what you have to do with the background is you have to duplicate the layer.
Yeah.
We don't think we'll have time to do it because it's a little bit complicated, but you duplicate the layer, so Control J. You remove the background, so you isolate the subject.
Right.
Okay, and then you do the warping on the subject, not on the background.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
you'd copy it. You'd fill in the space of the person. So you turn the layer off. Let's see if we can have a quick go. Let's see if we can do something off the top of my head. Okay, let's see what we've got image wise. G for grid. Got something background that we can look at. See if we've got something. Let's try her. I think she's going to be a bit complicated, but let's have a quick go. Okay. Bear in mind this normally would take, you know. So, or Helen might do this a lot. Do you do this, Helen, a lot?
No, I would do a clipping path and cut it out, and
Yeah.
I've never used that puppet warp thing.
Okay. So I've duplicated the layer. I'm going to remove the background by clicking here, remove background. So it's now selected on its individual layer. I've now crossed that out. I'm now going to go to my content aware fill. And let's see what that's going to do. Is it going to do it? Is it doing anything? So let's go select subject. Let's come out of that. Select subject. So it's going to select the person. I'm going to expand because I've got hair and so on in there. I can see it's not round the back of the hair. I'm going to expand the selection, modify, expand, and expand it by, let's say, 20 pixels. Yeah, it's taken most of it. Now I'm going to go content aware fill. And then wait for it. There we go. So now we've cut the person out. I'm going to make sure it goes on the same layer. Press OK. So now I've got a layer without, the person. Yeah. Now I'm going to go back to my layer. And then I'm going to go, that's the layer of the person. Okay. So now I deselect, back on the person. Go to puppet warp. Now, bear in mind, I don't do this a lot. Please bear with me. Let's try. Right. So the key is, I suppose, looking at the mat. Will the map move? Yeah, the map's moving. Oh, I know why. Let's go undo, 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 undo. Let's go back because I'm not on. Let's go cancel. I'm not on the person. So now let's try warp. I've selected the person on the layer, not the actual layer. Yeah, that's it. So now I've created a mask on the person. Okay, rather than on the whole subject. Okay, so now, okay. I'm doing it in pieces. Okay. So I've now raised her leg. All right. So I'm get her arm a bit. I'm trying to do it naturally. It's not quite naturally, but all right.
He may have one arm longer than the other.
Yeah. Well, that's it. But you can see, right? So let's add some stuff into her head.
Good fun, though.
Yeah. And you can turn. Okay. Okay. So there we go. All right.
Yeah.
So if I go back to, if I now save that, save. Just wait for it to save and then go back to Lightroom. We can look at both images. Okay, so this is what we did. This is what the original was. So she's now tilting down. This arm's poking up. This one's a bit wonky. This leg's higher. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So you can. So when I said last week about the dog cocking his leg, yeah. So, but it's all about being subtle with the movements.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that for artistic effect. Okay, and that's the warp tool. Okay, so but the key is what David asked is you need to separate. So you need to duplicate the layer. You need to create the subject behind the subject. If you think about it, if I cut that person out, it'll just be a blank hole. Mm-hmm. So I need to fill that in first. So when you move things, you haven't got a blank hole. Yeah. So you copy it, you cut the person out, use content aware fill to fill it, and that space now is filled. So now you've got an empty background, if you want to say. Then you adjust the person. Okay? Mm-hmm. So it's great. You know, you got people, oh, I'm really grumpy, but you can make them smiley now. Yeah? Yeah. Rather than taking another picture that blending it in and so on, you can just sit and go click, 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 smiley. Yeah, or you could do the Joker, you know, something like that. Yeah. So it has its place. It really does. I probably use it once a year, and that's why I say, well, hang on a second, I got to think now. I'm thinking, how do I do that? Yeah, all right, because I don't use it a lot. And this is why Photoshop is the Swiss Army penknife. It does all these things, but does a landscape photographer want to know about these things? Yeah. So, but yeah. Any questions about that?
That's good.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And this is what this 15-minute section is going to show you something different outside of Lightroom. But it connects back to Lightroom because you saw I saved it and I've bought that. I've got the original image and I've got that new image that I've done. It's all in Lightroom, which is the reason why I like Lightroom. It allows me to talk to third-party applications and then allows it to come back into Lightroom. So all my pictures are in one place. All my JPEGs, PNGs, TIFFs, PSDs, that's Photoshop formats, all the other are all in Lightroom, all in one place. Right? And I can go and find them by keywords, I can find them by title, description, or I can go and just find them via the folder structure or collections.
Well, when you saved it though, did you save it as just a PSD back in Lightroom then?
Yeah, okay. So we are in a few weeks' time. We've got a whole 2 or 3 weeks about using Lightroom and Photoshop and the cloud. There's a block of about 6 weeks, all about using the cloud that we're paying for, okay, and how to put images into the cloud in Photoshop or using portfolio and collections and so on, because none of us, including me, really utilize what we're paying for. So you can, what I just done there, you can do on an iPad with a, because I know certain people have got iPads and pencils. You can do all of that, not sitting here. If you import it, put it into a collection into the cloud, you can then go and sit down with your glass of Prosecco, Chardonnay or whatever, and do this all on your iPad, press save, it all goes back to the cloud, and then it comes back. So you're only sitting part of your time in front of your big screen. Mm-hmm. You can do this anywhere that you want.
Is Photoshop more restricted though on an iPad? Is it different?
Not the new version. If you've got a newer iPad, anything in the last 3-4 years iPad and the newer version of iPad, it's not the full version, but it does 70%. It really, and it all syncs back. Okay, so the limited things that the 70% of things that you can do on iPad, Photoshop, and with Lightroom, all syncs back to the full version or classic. Okay, so to answer what you were talking about, okay, just to show you, I click home, Lightroom Photos. You see that on the right hand side?
Mm-hmm.
Lightroom Photos. That's taking from Lightroom, the stuff that's in the cloud. Okay, now that's the same as on my iPad. I've got my files that are in the cloud. So I could have a PSD file in the cloud that from my iPad. Okay, they're all here, right?
So that's Lightroom as
this is Photoshop. This is Lightroom, or sorry to interrupt you there, or a collection. So if you had a collection here, synced in the cloud.
Yeah, but it has to be synced with the cloud.
Yeah, everything is from the cloud. So your 20 gig of storage all goes in the cloud. Yeah. So yeah. So that's where it's coming from. So, and your PSD question is if you go to Lightroom Preferences, External Editing, this is where you set it up. So PSD format, Lightroom only has a color space of ProPhoto RGB. So I am protecting the color space of Lightroom Classic to Photoshop. So the same looks, the same colors. 16-bit, so that's how many channels of information. 16 is the most you can have at the moment. And 300 dots per inch is what you print in. So it's at 300 dots. So this is the setup here. You can change it. TIFF is the old format, which sorry, I'm thinking of respects or has layers. But there's a file format, I think 2 gig or 20 gig or something, a file size. The difference, one will only do 2 gig, one will do 20 gig or whatever, the size of your file. So when you start building up multiple files or multiple images in files, and you might need to change to, I think they call it Photoshop large document or something like that, and TIFF files. So, but it preserves, that's the word I'm thinking of, layers. So that's where you set that up under Preferences External. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's cancel, click there. Any questions about that? No? Okay, so that time of the week that you try and catch me out. I'm just having cider and lemon, not Sue. Sue introduced me to Thatcher's, was it Cloudy? It's Cloudy and Lemon or something?
Cloudy Lemon. Cloudy
Lemon. And it's one of those drinks that is, it's not sweet, but it's on the sweeter side. And before you realise you've drunk 4 tins of it.
Wicked woman.
Yeah. Oh, this is nice. I got one. This is nice. I like this. Went down to Iceland, bought a pack of 10, and well, that was it. Gone in the afternoon. Didn't realise I had 10 of them. Oh, wasn't new for me then. No, should have got in
Is
there
it
quick.
good for your diet, Mark?
Yeah. Oh, well, I've lost nearly 2 stone.
Well done.
Amazing. I will. Yeah, back on my what do they call it? Joe, what do they call it? So, what do they call it?
Healthy eating?
No.
Training bike?
No.
Oh, fasting.
Intermittent fasting. I only
Okay.
try to eat between 2 and I try to eat within a window of 6 hours. So by the time your body gets to 12 hours of not eating, the next 6 hours, it eats up all the horrible stuff in your body. So the idea is with intermittent fasting is you eat your normal food, but in the shorter window. So as you're, and bearing in mind you're asleep for 8 hours or so. So for 8 hours of the day, you're not eating on the normal day. 6 hours I'm eating, and the rest of the time I'm sleeping. But I'm eating the same roughly food, which is reasonably good anyway. But your body's burning off that stored fat.
Mm-hmm.
That's the principle behind it, and it's worked for me. So, and where you really shed it off if you start walking and exercise and so on, because your body's burning more in that period of not. It's like this morning.
And if you stop drinking?
I don't drink really at all. But this morning, well, I have to blame Jo for that. She's the one that introduces me to alcohol. Come and help me with Lightroom and pick up a bottle of New Zealand Dry on the way.
Mark, I need to go because I've got another Zoom to go to.
Okay. Anyone got any questions? Any help?
No, thank
needed?
you. Not at this
I'll
moment.
have a couple for you, but maybe we can save them for Wednesday.
No, we can do it now if you want.
Well, two
see
things.
you next week.
Yeah, okay, David. Take care,
Thank
mate.
you.
Nice to
Good
see
night.
you.
Bye. One, I tried that Flickr
Yeah.
thing. I can get stuff from Lightroom to Flickr,
Yeah, but
but I
not from
can't
Flickr
work
down.
out
No.
the other way.
Yeah.
And also, I was looking at uploading everything using my Amazon
Yeah.
storage.
Yeah.
And at the moment, it seems to upload every image 4 times. Now, when I Googled it,
Mhm.
it sort of seemed to indicate that there might be some sort of program you could download, but because I didn't have a clue what I was doing, I didn't want to start
Okay.
downloading things.
Okay, so you may have duplicates in your Lightroom catalog. My philosophy is there are plugins for Lightroom. There's a duplicate finder, and it will look at them. It doesn't look at the picture. It looks at the metadata, date and time, for example, camera serial number, lens serial number, the point of view, the aperture, all that type of stuff. And it marries them up. And it does a very good job. However, I'd much rather make the decision myself. So what I do when I'm looking for duplicates, really, really simple, looking for duplicates. I go to metadata, and in the first column here, you click on the drop down here underneath where it says library. What's the common denominator? What's the unique identifier? Mrs. Pegg, you know the answer to this?
Moment in time.
Moment in time. It's the date and time. It's the unique identifier. You cannot repeat it, unless you're Jules Verne. Okay, so underneath this column here, you can reorder these columns. You can add columns and so on, etc. Right? I change this to date and time. Okay, so date. Okay, so these are all the dates. So I click on this one here. This is just to show you what I'm doing. This is 2008, December the 28th, 17 photographs. There's the 17 photographs. Okay, and I can now look at which ones are duplicates, and I can look at the file names. Okay, I can look at the images. These were all taken on that day. Which one's duplicates? This one's a virtual copy because of the little symbol in the corner. Okay, so I can turn that off. If I go to attributes, top right hand corner, you've got 3 icons: master copy file, virtual copies, and videos. Just show me the photographs. There we go, the original photographs. Okay, so now I can look at them and say, well, these two actually look very similar. Press N. Actually, they're very similar. But now if I start to look here, there's a space in the hedge. There isn't in this one. So they are different photographs. But if I look at the file names are different photographs. But these two, hang on a second. These look, got the smudge here. That looks all the same. G for grid. Look at, if I make the file bigger, if you look, 67 minus 2. That's a duplicate of that one. So I'm making the decision. So now I would go X to reject it. Look at the next ones: 68, 69, 70, 71, 75, 75 PSD. It's a Photoshop file of it. It's outside Photoshop. Okay, 76. Okay, 76, but there's something not quite right here in the filing structure. Let's look at the picture. It's the same picture, but they're different edits. So they are different pictures. So that's what I do, is I look at the date across my whole catalogue, then I get all the thumbnails up, and then I go through, pick and reject, and then just delete the ones that I want to delete.
Okay.
Then I might move them all into a date folder. So I brought them all physically together in a particular place. Now, if I've got different narratives, so Exmoor Highland Cattle and Exmoor Ponies, I will take the Exmoor Highland Cattle, put them in one place. I'll take the ponies, put them in another place, in a date folder, the date they were taken. So I've brought them all together. And this is what I'm doing with all these drives that I showed you last week underneath there. Yeah, they're what we call legacy backups. When in those days, we used to just back up the drive. But now we have software that actually will look at for changes and will only back up the changes. So you have one backup, which is a copy of whatever. So that's what I do. And I spend an hour every day, 6 days a week or so. And sometimes I might go through 3 or 4 months, just literally picking, rejecting them, putting them. Oh, they're pictures of my daughter. They drag into that date pictures of my daughter. They're pictures of my eldest son. I drag the whole lot of them and put them in Duncan 2006, which is on a moment, and whatever the date is goes into that date folder. They're all the pictures of my son on that date, goes into that folder. Yeah. So I can click on that. If everything goes wrong, I can click on outside of Lightroom. I can click on that folder and see all those pictures on his 4th birthday. They're all there in one place. So I've got a backup of my workflow and everything. So, but because these drives are legacy drives, I might have 5 copies of that one photograph. But now, because of technology, I don't want 5 copies. I just want 1 copy local that I work with. So I delete all the copies out of Lightroom. I think this morning I deleted 1,700 files. Okay, took me less than 20 minutes. Then that syncs to Amazon Photo. Okay, it syncs to Backblaze, and I have a second drive that I bring here, once a week, and I back up local as well. So I have a drive local. All right, so that's my philosophy. I'd rather make the decision because I'm not intelligent. The computer will do it faster, but I'm the decision maker. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So there we go. So that's the duplicate side of it. But there are plugins. I do have the plugin, Duplicate Finder. And let's see if it's in this one. Got it in my main catalog, plugin manager. It's not under library. No, it's not. I haven't installed it on this one, I don't think. Let's have a look. No. No, so can't show it. I'm looking at a solution rather than using my Creative Cloud albums. I'm looking at using a paid Flickr account, because only on the they're changing their terms. If you want private albums, as in you don't want other people to see them, you have to be a paid customer. Mm. So what's I think Flickr's thinking is all their images are searchable by Google, because they're SmugMug and so on and Getty licensing and things like that, that Google will pick up the images, and there's a possibility that they could actually, do you remember I showed you that bit? It says licensed.
Mm.
They will be able to sell it on your behalf and give you a royalty. You tick that you want to sell, they want to sell the image. So they're selling they're becoming an agency as well. But if you put it private, the album private, like, you know, family holiday, you don't want everyone to see them, you know, and in Flickr you can do like a mailing list type thing. Every time you put an image up, it sends an email out to somebody. They want a revenue share. They want some money off you. So if you want a private collection, you now have to subscribe. I think it's about 100 quid for 2 years, I think it is. But it means that within Lightroom, to show you, under published services, you have this Flickr plugin here. And basically, it's like a collection, but it publishes it to the web. So you create a collection set and call it Family Holidays. Okay, so let go there, and then you go create a collection, DLP, Disneyland Paris, November 2006, which is what I'm doing at the moment. Okay, so you do that, and then you drag the images into here, and you hit up top right hand corner, it says publish, and it sends them to Flickr. But if you've met it, everyone can see them unless you're now a paid customer, because you can make that album private.
Mm.
So only your friends and family sees them. But unlike Lightroom and the collections in there, every time you turn it off public and so on, etc., it repopulates the URL, gives you a new URL. This URL always stays the same. So if you want to create a photo album for other people, friends and family to see, works. But if you want to make them private, you have to pay for it. So, and again, all the keywords all work, all to go across, all the metadata all goes up and so on. So if you've got pictures, let's say you've got a set called Family Holidays, you click on it and you can type in Disneyland Paris, and all the pictures of Disneyland Paris will come up on Flickr. So for people that can see them. So, but the web is becoming a paid for item anyway. So there we go. Anyone else got any questions? Helen, you're very quiet this evening. No. Okay. Joe. No. She's. Can you see that straw? I can see the bottle in the background. She keeps leaning over, and is that a bottle behind that picture? It looks like a bottle. Yeah. So I wondered she kept leaning over that way. Joyce, you got any questions? Can't hear you, darling. You're on mute. I'm going to see you tomorrow anyway, aren't I? Okay. Mrs. Clark? Press your space bar, darling, and that should unmute you for a minute. No, no, yes, no,
All
that's
right,
it.
no,
Now
I'm
we can hear what
fine. Okay.
you're fine. So, all right. So you got any, Mrs. Pegg? Anything?
Hundreds, but I'll keep them
Hundreds.
for another time.
Okay, all right. Okay, lovely to see you all.
Okay.
Recording
you.
will be up
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Take care. All the best.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.